Well, folks, welcome to another one of my little talks here, my campaign, presidential campaign. I want to talk a few different things this morning. This is December the 11th. Time is surely getting away, isn't it? I'd like to address you folk out there to encourage people that are not signed up to vote. 40% of the American people make all the decisions. And you know, that 60% out there has a responsibility and an obligation, really, to, and you know, some people out there will say, well, I don't talk religion and I don't talk politics. Well, you know what? You'd better start talking something. Because, you know, when Jefferson said that they should not be mixed religion and politics, he was talking about that there shouldn't be a state church. But more and more, politics has gotten into religion, hasn't it? And that's why so many churches today, they're talking about all the wrong things that were meant for the scripture. They talk about prosperity and financial wealth, and you can prosper. You know, if you're not prospering in your soul, if you don't have a relationship with the Lord, then you're just, you're not in touch with reality. And I'm not coming against all the churches, because there are some fine churches out there. But by and large, unless we're into the Word and in prayer, our country's in great turmoil right now. They can't even come up with a candidate that's not condescending one to another. We've got to present our issues. We've got to present what we can bring to the plate. And we need honesty, morality, integrity, and good character. All these issues are so much important. And to none of us are really qualified to run the country on our own without God's help and wisdom that He imparts to us. He will do just that if we ask Him. America has gone, you know, Rome was destroyed. The moral issues in the country are very critical to our subsistence and our ways of life. And each one of us needs to take inventory of ourselves and of our lives and what we're doing, our influence, our character, our morality. It's just like when churches have revivals. Everybody looks around like the cow at the new gate and says, oh, a revival, yeah, we're going to see something happen. Well, it needs to begin with us. That's the way it is in America. There are people that even have no faith in God. They make a mockery of it. They're not the least bit interested in the things of God. You just watch and see what this world's coming to. We're going to need a strong leader, somebody that can give good counsel, and wisdom and strength, and be able to communicate with other nations and be strong and firm. But by the same token, we need to walk with a big stick, but talk softly, not threatening. You know, when we get into the issues of tough guy and we can do this and we can do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, you know what? You're not going to do anything unless you have the country behind you, unless you're a leader that people can count on and not be worried that you're going to make the wrong, have a temper, go off on a hussy fit and say stupid things or put us in harm's way. And then there's the counsel of the folk around you, the people you have in your council. They've got to be good people. They've got to morally, they've got to have good character. And it's necessary that we bring ourselves together as a nation. But that's 60% of people that don't vote. They don't get involved. Where do they think our country's going to go? If you leave it up to the 40% of people to run our country, to make decisions, to vote, we're in big trouble. Because there's so many issues today, moral issues, that we have to deal with. And the moral issues are critical to the survival of our nation. And then we have to show patience and love with those people that are off track, even those that don't believe in God. We need to be very careful because they're looking for answers. The people are depressed. We got so many people that are depressed. And you know, depression comes from fear. It comes from having a bad attitude towards others. It comes from hate. It comes from holding back or regrets in your own life that you've made mistakes, and and then things like that, that you just beat yourself up too much. God came and he said, I'll give you peace. Just come unto me. He's the shepherd. Come unto me. Get under the shadow of his wings and in the shelter of the rock. And you can be safe. And God can calm those storms in your life. People run into psychiatrists and shrinks and trying to have them figure out what their problems are, then put them on a prescription to give them peace. When you can get aside, let me tell you something. If you just go into your little closet or get off by yourself, I don't care if you don't even believe in God. Give him a minute. Say, Lord, if you are really who you say you are, can you calm the storm in my life? Then start to confess. Say, Lord, I'm sorry for the things I've done. I'm sorry that I don't understand a lot of things. I'm sorry that I'm bitter. I'm sorry that I'm angry at people. Boy, I'll tell you, you want to be a healthy person? Let go of that bitterness. Some people carry grudges and bitterness all their life. It gets you nothing. You tear down your own body. You tear down your own, what do you call them, like you have an immune system. And when people are over-drugged, their immune system breaks down. It's kind of like that when you hate people, when you're bitter and angry. Then they talk about bringing in these aliens and these people in other countries that are a threat to us. Well, we should never stop reaching out to people. But there's a process you go through. You don't just bring them in and you got to screen them. You got to gently love them. And where they're at. For instance, people are broken out and scattered from their countries. We need to send food and supplies to comfort them until we can bring them through and screen them through and bring them in to our country. But we got to use wisdom. And we don't talk condescending about other nations. And when they're doing wrong and everything, they will be dealt with appropriately and in time. But let's not jump to judgment. When we Americans, we call ourselves Americans in a loving country, but we abort millions of babies every year, you don't think God's angry with that? You don't think that their blood cries out from the ground for justice? And the moral issues in this country, everything's so jacked up, is because the churches have dropped the ball. These pastors are up in the pulpit and they're not preaching salvation. They're not preaching love and compassion and mercy like they should. A lot of people take direction from the pulpit. Let me tell you something. You better get into my computer. I call it my computer. It's the Word of God. It's the Bible. I call it my computer. It won't break down, shut down, get a virus, or let you down. Isn't that wonderful? And God can bring instant peace. Why don't you try this? You're sitting there and you're depressed, you're sick, you're angry. Ask God to quiet your spirit. Quiet your spirit. Give you peace. Ask for forgiveness. That's where it begins. And when you've got aught against people, you're angry at family members, turn around, send them a note. Yeah, send them a note. You'll blow their mind. So I'm sorry for the way things have gone. I'm sorry if I've caused you to have anger and bitterness against me. I'm just sorry. You may never speak to me again. But for my part, I want to tell you I'm sorry. Right there, you're going to feel good. You're going to start feeling good right there. That's the healing process. Now, I know this is supposed to be a campaign speech, but I have to throw a little bit of religion in there because that's the foundation of my whole platform. Is standing on the Word of God. It seems like I'm out there, nobody knows me or hears about me, but in God's time, and when people start taking note, then I'll surface in time. It won't be too late. I don't stand on protocol. We don't have certain things they want you to jump through, and I'm not financing my campaign through anyone but myself and trusting God to open up the doors for me. You can do a lot without money because we have the airways, we have the internet. And so we trust God. He can get us out there. I don't want to take any money in my campaign. I will never be bought. And even at best, even with good people wanting to encourage me, I appreciate that. I meet people every day who want to give me a little money for my campaign. I appreciate that. But I want to trust in God. If He called me to this, He'll see me through. And I want to leave the money just the same as when I preach. I don't take offerings. Anytime you leave money out of the equation, people will take you a little more seriously. because God provides all my needs for me. He has all my life taken good care of me. And so I just want to encourage people out there today. You know, we could beat up. It'd be easy to beat up some of these other opponents. You know, with some heavy stuff to bring down. But what would that do? When you beat up people, but people need to wake up and take a good look at the candidates and see what they're really bringing to offer. No one candidate is going to go out there and change the world. But you know what? If the people would rise up and back up and morally pray for and encourage, and if you've got a leader that's strong and can get in the face of some of our allies and some of these other people and let them know where the dog died in a nice, gentle way, of course, you know, but be firm. You can be very firm and be very gentle. You can say things in such a way. Words are so important, and how you use those words. You've got to be somewhat of a wordsmith. You got to use wisdom, but you can be very tough. Let them know we're not going to be pushed around. America's all done being pushed around. We got to be careful when we see these issues coming up where all of a sudden we're supposed to bring in all these people from other countries, you know, because America is somewhat of a patsy in a lot of ways. They expect us to be soft, but we've got to be very careful. Use wisdom and vigilance. Not turn anyone down, but there's many ways we can support them until they can find refuge or safety. Naturally, they want to come to America. But you know what? The way America is going right now, and I've been in third world countries. I was in Kenya, Africa, years ago, and I supported some people to come here. And I'm going to tell you that they were living pretty good. They didn't know it. They had a pretty good life. I'd seen them sweep dirt floors and eat and have love and fellowship and that kind of thing. And when they came to America, all of a sudden it was about material things. Got to have all this stuff, working themselves to, and the families were getting weakened. You see, whatever state you're in there, and be content. When you start being thankful for the little things that you have, when you start appreciating every day what you have, look around you, encourage somebody, be kind to them, speak softly, speak love, speak peace and joy. Look, I know I'm rambling today, but there's some very important issues that we have to deal with in this country. But the basis of it is the moral issues. That's right. You can jump around, talk about prosperity and increasing wages for people. You know, they talk about the minimum wage. There's a lot of can be said about that. I believe there are certain jobs people should be paid better. I talked to a manager of a Walmart, and I told him people need to receive a little more money for what they're given. These big corporations, they have all this money. If they would decide to just lighten up a little. But I had a construction company, and sometimes I paid guys better than what they were worth, and I didn't get any more work out of them. So you have to use discretion. You've got to be kind. There are other benefits you can give people. People that work at places like McDonald's, they ought to have a free lunch. There's different ways that you can encourage and help people, take the load off of them. I mean, they're big corporations. You mean to tell, I don't mean to pick on McDonald's, because I love McDonald's. I go there all the time. I have an office there. I meet people. That's where they meet me, at McDonald's. I always have my office over there. But you know, you see people struggling. I know I talked to a little girl one day. She was behind the counter. They were talking condescendingly to her and just putting her down. I said, you know what, honey? There's a better job for you out there. Let's say a little prayer. Make the long story short. She went over, and I'm running out of time here. She went over to another employment, and I went ahead of her to give her a good word. And do you know, on her own, the woman told me, as I wanted to encourage you, oh yeah, I like her. And I went there to kind of support her, but she didn't need my backup because she'd already impressed the woman. And then she got that job, and it was a better job, and then as a result of her doing a good job there, she moved up to even a better job. You see, it's all about our attitude and what we do. What do we put into the job? We want more money? Let's work harder. Let's let the boss know we appreciate our job, appreciate the job we have. Well, listen, you know what? I've been rambling. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get another message out here pretty soon. But I'll get this uploaded, and I just want to say, people out there, you got to tell people, talk to people, talk it up, encourage them. Say, do you vote? Vote. You know, when you don't vote, it's a vote against everything that we're working for. So I mean, people need to come together. We need people to vote. And you know what? It doesn't matter what party you are. As I've said before, I'm a Republican. We haven't done things right. But you know what? We all need to clean up our act. So let's do that. Let's clean up our act. And let's work together. I don't care. I've crossed over the line and voted for Democrats. If the person is worthy, let's do it. But this time for our nation, look, more and more, you're going to see as time goes on, we get winding down. There's a lot going on in this old country, this world. Fear, this fighting, this, all this prejudice is going. Man, what is, Satan wants to destroy our country. And if you don't have love, if you don't start taking a better attitude towards people, and some of the things that we see going on, I'm going to give you one instance. When that police officer shot that young man 16 times, he unloaded in that. Now, there's a lot more to that than the story tells. That sounds like bitterness, anger, frustration, hate to me. And so let's be careful and let justice, do its job. Let's not all riot. Let's come together. Justice will prevail. And there's all kinds of things going on in this country that just don't seem right. But if we come together as a nation in a peaceful manner and trust God, pray for God, ask Him for wisdom. Let us see His hand in these situations, and they'll all turn out better. Let's work together as a country. United we stand, divided we fall. Let's all get united. God bless you. And I'll be talking to you again real soon. Thanks for your time today.